ultimate entertainer, you'll give 10 of your country's biggest stars the ultimate artistic challenge.
I'm one of the childs of television. When I was a kid, I started working for Dean Martin and the roasts. I worked for Johnny Carson and I was a page. So I'm always proud of saying that because I actually started from the bottom up and there isn't a job that I really haven't done. I, over the years, found that to become a producer, you've got to be able to look ahead and find out where the trends are going. And as the years went on, I would try to find programming that I liked. And I consider myself a boutique producer, where I didn't just do one type of programming. I would cross over into different areas, where I've done miniseries, movies of the week, sitcoms, animation, game shows. But I find that I'm one of the lucky ones because I find shows that I love. And when I find shows I love, which are telling stories, those have been successful. And for me, I've been able to make a pretty good living and work with some interesting people. Most notably, I created Walker, Texas Ranger with Chuck Norris. And that was at a time when the 1 hour closed-end shows weren't on television.
I've been waiting for you.
When TV movies were getting bigger and becoming more expansive, I came up with Monday Night Mayhem, which was the big story of Monday Night Football, and John Turturro played Howard Cosell.
You could charm a monkey out of his coconut.
And when I saw that movies then were going away and series were going away and scripted was not as popular, I looked into the non-scripted form, and we came out and did Gene Simmons' Family Jewels.
I'm Gene Simmons, rock god, the one who walks the face of the earth, the one who terrorized your children, the one who slept with your girlfriends.
Thinkfactory Media, we're launching, which is a company that I put together with Adam Reed and Adam Freeman, two executive producers that have worked with me now for the past several years. I have been producing for over 25 years and probably produced over 600 hours of television, motion pictures, and movies. I've shot all around the world, and I've produced television, which I'm kind of proud of, that is across the board. At this point, we're really at a point where we're blossoming because we have about 4 or 5 television shows on the air. We're in development for about another almost half a dozen. And we're also doing scripted. We have 3 pilots we're doing, and I'm doing a big launch miniseries, 4 hours scripted. So it's exciting for me to see all this work come to a point where we can now actually call it a real company. And we're called Thinkfactory Media. We're doing a show for TLC called K9. And really, if you imagine Lethal Weapon, Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, and there was Joe Pesci, but ours is a canine dog. We have a very unique character where there's this top dog team, and they go into the world, but it's not like a police show. It's actually these 3 cops going into the field. One happens to be a dog. It's very funny, it's very gritty, but it's a fresh way of looking at a non-scripted show. Prior to that, it's always weird talking about yourself, but I probably produced 70 or 80 hours of intimate portraits and A&E biographies and all those kind of 1 hour specials. I also produce and direct movies. My first film was called Keys to Tulsa. It was a little art house kind of noir picture with James Spader, Cameron Diaz, Eric Stoltz.
Started with a dead girl named Earla.
And I produced Beating Wally Sparks with Rodney Dangerfield.
He got me right in the touche.
And we've, in our little world, done very well. We're now getting set to produce Pound for Pound. Ron Shelton's going to direct. It's with Dennis Quaid, Sam Jackson, Chris Brown, and it's based on the follow-up to FX Tools' book, $1 Million Baby, which won the Academy Award when he wrote $1 Million Baby. So. The trend in television, to me, is watching a cycle. There's nothing really new When Stephen Bochco invented the three-tiered story, ABC storylines, which is probably 25 years ago, he invented something that changed television. But right now, it's being able to see where people are going, and everyone's trying to create what the next big thing is. And I'm seeing a cycle back. The networks now, because there's so many of them, are looking for a statement. There's become a sea of sameness, which is the way I call it, of programming. And when you go to the networks, they're all looking for that signature show, but they want what they call as loud, white hot, bold. When a show like Walking Dead jumps out, it's because, where'd it come from? It's scripted. And it's like, well, now we gotta watch that. When a show like Pawn Stars jumps out, it was like, oh, that was the first of its kind, going back to when they did Ice Road Truckers. No one saw that. So they're either trying to find these non-scripted shows that are very big and loud, or they're going back to scripted series. And they're trying to find an audience. I believe closed-end series that are scripted are going to become popular, where they can promote them, they can get hooks, but then they can repeat on a regular basis. So right now, I'm hearing from all the networks, they're actually starting to dabble into that world, and networks that have never done scripted before are now quietly and secretly developing scripts.
Who are they?
Well,
they're quiet and secret.
They're quiet and secret. And the only reason why they'll take me in because I can keep it quiet and keep it secret. And I think if you do these shows that follow a trend, most of the audience will never have heard of the Ozzie and Harriet show, way before you're all born. But it was a show about a band leader, Ozzie Nelson. He had these two young kids who were performers, and his wife. He lived at home. And he was a bit of a schmo because his kids were always getting him into a mess. And it was like, oh, Ozzie. The truth is, that's Gene Simmons' Family Jewels. But it's 21st century. Because Gene's a rock and roller. He's at home with his two kids, his wife, and Gene's got a heart of gold. And he gets into the schmo, where at the end he's this big rock star.
Gotta do the chores. Vacuum. Stupid birthday. What a stupid idea.
We were able to parallel and say, what are the true values? What are the true empathies that an audience can relate to? And I think if we capture that, you're going to be able to make shows that are global. Gene Simmons is global. Walker is global. Because at the end of the day, I believe if you tell a story about people, I don't care what country you're from, people are going to enjoy it and relate to it. The challenge in television today is what's working for us is working against us. Because there are so many networks and there are so many outlets to be able to make programming, you have a great opportunity to sell to a lot of people. Having said that, because there's so many diversities, they're not giving any money. So everybody wants something for cheaper. They just want to be able to put content in, and it becomes content for programming's sake. So the challenge for us is how do you keep quality, but also make unique product for each network on the low dollar. And we've been successful because we're now amortizing. It's the old days of Roger Corman. Keep the editing bays going, keep the programming going, so you can maintain a quality by amortizing all your costs. If you're a one-stop shop producer, which I respect because you got to have a passion, but it's very challenging. And at this point, there are a few opportunities where the networks are now allowing us to own global content. Because up until a few years ago, it was a mandate. Once they changed those FinCEN laws in 1990, I believe, everyone said, we own it, take it or leave it. They said it wasn't going to happen to get it passed, but once it passed, it did happen. And now what they're realizing is they need to be able to share partners, and we need to be looking to the world as one place. It's no longer we're America or that's Britain. It's we are a global community that can beam internet, underground cable programming that people want to enjoy. And if we don't lose sight of that, and the producers that can produce for that, I think are going to do well. Looking forward as to where digital distribution will take us, I believe that's a strong business, but it's probably 5 years away. You need the ability to create the content as an independent. If you're Warner's, Paramount, and you own your libraries, you know, it's a turnkey. All right, here's another way to sell our product. When you're the smaller company, you need to build up that content. You need to be able to get the content, and you need to be able to finance that. Because when you go to the networks, the first thing they do is they cut your license fee if you want those certain rights. So you have to be able to balance that. for me, I think as an independent company, if we can build a library, if we can become a dependable global supplier, we then become a company that could either be acquired, or we could then control our own destiny and have our own sales. I've also been approached by a number of independents that want to put together a kind of uniformed distribution team where we all put our product together and we have one sales force. Take it out. Not to be glum, but when I first started out in television, network executives and agents and producers all wanted product that was fun and exciting and fresh and innovative. And you ask me, well, why has that changed? They want that now. The difference I find is that people wanted a green light and say yes because they were enthusiastic. And that's what drove a yes. Unfortunately, the way the business has changed, just in my opinion, is the business is now driven by fear. And product is made and networks are buying product when they're more afraid that if I turn it down, it's not going to look good. People are afraid to say yes. They're afraid to set precedents. When you go in with quotes and they say, well, those don't apply now, but I'm afraid not to make that work. So you've got to override the fear and try to get people enthusiastic. So when you ask the networks, they all want white hot, exciting, breakthrough. But then the moment you come out and you say, let's come out with a left field idea, then they get afraid. And they got to be able to say, let's see how we all think. It's the old joke. What do you think of the script? I don't know. Let me see what the team has to say. So that's the difference. We had Mavericks in the beginning. When you go back to the pioneers of Bill Paley and even visionaries that were Runa Arledge and Fred Silverman, these were people who loved programming and they believed, they went with their gut. Brandon Tartikoff. I mean, I don't care that the ratings said that we shouldn't make Matlock. America's going to like it. Boom. I don't care Seinfeld wasn't doing well for the I'm going to stay with it. You go back to Silverman. So what, Happy Days, it was like, no, it's not testing well. Put it on the air. Nowadays, it's focus groups and this group and that group and what are we going to do? And unfortunately, a lot of the programming becomes pandering, and that's a shame.
In the beginning, there was music. Then there was dance. Then came television. And gradually, stars were born. Now, we bring music, dance, TV, and stars together in a spectacular new show. In The Ultimate Entertainer, you'll give 10 of your country's biggest stars the ultimate artistic challenge. For 10 weeks, they'll compete in 10 different music styles, such as opera, rock, musical, hip-hop, pop, big band, and more. Each week, the 10 competitors will work together with the best music producers, dancers, choreographers, and other on-stage artists to create true magic on stage. Find out what happens when you put a rap duo into the world of musical. Or turn a pop singer into a real hip-hopper. The viewers vote for their favorite artist. Each week, one artist will have to leave the competition. The last artist standing wins the honorable title, The Ultimate Entertainer.